going to the NBA standings and what you have there. Alec, you kind of led the way with it, and the way you put together a list of how you have the Eastern and Western conferences falling in line. I'll let you present those, and then I'll react accordingly as we go from there. So sure. I'll pull up. You want to start on the East?
I'm starting the East. Yeah.
Starting the East. All right. 1 second.
And my plan was to go from bottom up. Would you want me to go like the first 5 and stop so you could discuss, or you want me to go all the way through?
Go from the bottom up, and when I'm ready to stop you, I'll stop you.
All right.
All right. So I'll just, for name's sake, put the Bucks as a picture. I'll go ahead and present your Eastern Conference standings and how you have things playing out this season. 10-1
for sure. I'll say it was hard for both conferences. The West was a little bit more challenging, but the hardest part for me was kind of the play-in range. So we'll get to it. We'll see. But at 15, I got the Hornets.
I was starting at 15. Okay, go ahead.
At 14, I got the Wizards. At 13, I've got the Pistons. At 12, I got the Magic. At 11, I got the Pacers. At 10, I got the Nets. At 9, I got the Raptors. At 8, I got the Bulls. At 7, I got the Hawks. At 6, I have the Heat. 5, I have the Knicks. 4, I have the Sixers. 3, I have the Cavaliers. 2, I have the Bucks. And 1, I have the Celtics. Let me hear your thoughts, man. Let me hear your thoughts.
So I'm not gonna lie, I laughed early. I laughed at 14. We did the Wizards. I was like, dang, are they really gonna be that bad? But I guess it's hard for me to even say that. But again, when you look at the rest of the standings, like they have to fall somewhere. Yeah. So I guess that makes sense. We move up from there. I will say, while I do think we saw recently Pat Bev had a talk about the Magic and about them having 2 top 100 players, and if they're two top 100 players, they have to be playoff teams. He did kind of exaggerate in that, but even beyond those 2 guys as the piece he targeted, they have pieces there that it's time for them to start turning some kind of corner. So while I do understand why they still might end up falling at 12, I think 12 will be a very disappointing season for them, and we'll see if they play above it. They could fall there. Well, I'm not disagreeing with where you have them. Sure. I'm just saying if they do end up there, that should cause some shifts to start happening there. If that is the case.
For that discussion, just real quick, for the Magic, I don't see an all-star on that team at all. I think the closest is Paolo, and he's capable, but he was kind of an inefficient shooter. Now maybe that improves, and they definitely have good young pieces, as you said. But I don't see an all-star on that team, so that's kind of where I see them limited.
I do respect Paolo. I don't know if he's necessarily the all-star, like as you're saying, so I may agree with you in that, but I think they have enough pieces that can get them to 10. So we'll see how that plays.
Yeah, I can see that too.
The Pacers at 11 would be disappointing as well. I can see them being higher. The Nets, again, it kind of depends on Ben Simmons. Like I think Miles can go in and score a little bit. I think Cam Johnson can go in and score a little bit.
Miles. Mikal Bridges.
Mikal, excuse me. Yeah. If Mikal can come in and score, not Miles, excuse me. If Mikal can come in and score a little bit, if Cam Johnson can come in and score a bit, but if Ben cannot be even close to what we had always hoped him to be, they are still going to be at the bottom trying to find their way. The Raptors at 9. I get it.
They lost Van Vliet.
They're a team, I think even last year, I think you had them lower last year. I'm like, no, they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be 10-9, and you didn't fully believe me. I can see that, but I also can see that they kind of overdid it with some of the players. They are like too many of the same player. Like they have Scotty Barnes, OG, Pascal, Grady is kind of the same type of 6'8" wing player. Like they have just too much of the same guy, and it's gonna end up all right. We got to figure out who's gonna go where.
Yeah, I think some trades need to happen finally.
They gotta reshift their balance there some kind of way and make that work.
Right.
But 9 could be it. Bulls at 8, I guess. Hawks at 7. Again, very disappointing if that's the case.
I didn't see that they got a difference maker in the offseason though.
Yeah. And Trey seems
They
I almost
got
think
rid of John Collins. Maybe that's a plus, like addition by subtraction kind of thing for him. But
this may be dramatic, but even just looking at it, I could see the Pacers and the Hawks flipping. I can see the Pacers with Tyrese wanting fully taking control of the helm there. Ben taking another step from where he was last year. Bruce Brown being the solid piece there. Miles Turner is there and seems to be content now. He's got his money and all of that. They have pieces and have at least somewhat of veteran presence that wants to take some kind of step. I think them being out of the playoffs yet again this year would be a very disappointing. They're a team that wants to win at least somewhat right now. So I can see them being more successful than the Hawks. While the Hawks need to win right now as well with the dynamic duo that was supposed to be of DeJounte and Trey there. But we'll see how that plays. But that's all the bottom kind of teams there. Now going to the main teams, you have the Heat at 6. They're always a tricky squad. I feel it's going to be another year of the same thing. Like they're going to be a squad that's going to be 5, 6, 7 in the playoffs and knock somebody off when they shouldn't and end up making a run. So I'm not mad at 6. The Heat at the Knicks at 5. Why are you the Knicks at 5?
I think they're pretty much the exact same team as last year, essentially. Right. Like I don't think they got worse or significantly better either. Like I think Jalen Brunson is a really solid starting guard.
They traded Obi for who?
Was it a trade?
Maybe not. But yeah, he's on the Pacers now, so that's what I was thinking of.
But that's not a significant piece, like to me, like for the Knicks in terms of
just thinking of if they added anybody. I thought they might have added somebody in that trade. That's
right.
All.
They got Dante DiVincenzo because I know they got the Villanova boys over there for the Knicks. But yeah, I think they're middle of the pack playoff team, and they made a solid run last year in the playoffs as well. I don't think they improved really, but I don't think they got worse either. So I think they're somewhere in that middle range, like 4, 5, 6.
I made my take about Julius Randle. We talked about it, saying that he had reached his peak with this Knicks squad and they need to try to get off of him while they can. And he somewhat had a nice bounce back afterwards. And I was like, oh, all right, maybe I'm wrong. Yep. And then they lost again in the first round, I think it was. Yeah. And I was like, all right, well, here we go. So
second round. They beat the Cavs.
Last year, yes. I think when I made the take, it was the year before that, and that was okay. Lost in the first.
Yeah, they lost.
Yeah, they've had some decent runs, I guess, but this is a team that has been dying for a real deep run, and they haven't even got really they had second round, yes, but that was even they lost in 5, didn't they? Losing that to last year, I thought.
I think they lost in 6 to the Heat.
Oh, okay. So, well, they have some work to do still. So we'll see if Julius can maintain what he did and the rest of the team can elevate around him. I still believe in RJ Barrett as a decent option there, I guess. And we'll see how that plays. Yeah. Sixers at 4. Can you say that with them having an unsure piece in Harden there and just their history of the past few years that they're going to be able to stay even that high?
Yeah.
I guess you can put them there, but
right.
What makes you believe that they're going to be there?
Sure. My thing is they still have an MVP, like the reigning MVP on the roster. So exactly what you're getting from him. You're getting 30 and 10 and great production from him. You have Maxey, who's already a 20-point per game scorer and can improve his point production even more if Harden's not going to be there, which it seems he won't be. They brought in Kelly. What is that?
Your favorite player is there also.
Tobias is there too, but that's not when I think of Harden leaving, who fills the void, it's more so going to be Maxey in terms of the scoring. Tobias is going to play his role too, but they brought in Kelly Oubre as well on a cheaper deal, who I think can be productive for them. Still got PJ there, Paul Reed. They have a solid roster even without Harden.
I'll give a quick Valley shout out. While Harden has shown that he can be now a top tier assist man and can at times put up high quality points and all of that, Tyrese Maxey definitely can fill that void somewhat on the scoring end, and will develop as a passer now with more of the ball in his hands this year as it appears. So he definitely will be a contributing factor. Also, they added D'Anthony Melton, who's there, Valley product. So last year too, I think the two of Maxey and Melton can at least somewhat make up for what they're losing, at least for the moment early on, can make up for what they're losing in Harden. And then they'll obviously, when Harden gets moved, they'll get pieces back that will then add to it. So yeah, I think that definitely can work. As you're saying, so I hear you in that.
If Harden was there, I'd probably have them at 3. So I bumped them down
Got
1,
it.
but I don't think they're that much worse. Like even without Harden, I think they're still better than the Knicks
Okay.
to me. So
Then you have the Cavs at 3.
I have the Cavs at 3. Yeah.
The Bucks at 2.
Mhm.
We don't got to stay at everyone too long. The Cavs at 3. Just a quick note. We see what they have in Donovan. We see what they have in Mobley. We see Jerry Allen is still there. Darius Garland. They have plenty of pieces there that I understand. So if they just continue to build on what they did last year, I see a top 3 performance from them. Then the Bucks is at 2, and the Celtics at 1. So why do you have the Celtics staying above the Bucks in this standings here?
Yeah, I think they're very close. Obviously, I think they're both title contenders. I like the pairing of Dame and Giannis. I think there will be like some growing pains a bit. Like we see it every time when the superstar teams get formed. There's a little bit of growing pains, and I think that maybe hurts a little bit in terms of the win-loss record in the standings, but not significantly to where they fall out of being a top 2-3 team. I think Giannis, for the most part, is an Iron Man, so he's going to be playing most games and playing them hard. Dame, for the most part, same thing. I don't worry about injury. I worry a little bit about their depth because they lost a couple guys, and I think that right now they have a rotation of about 7 or 8 that they can trust between Bobby Portis and Connaughton, and bringing in a campaign to be backup point guard off the bench. I think they might want to acquire a little bit more younger players to fill out the roster on the bench at some point throughout the season. But I think the Celtics bringing in Drew Holiday is huge for their defense. And for the longest, I've been saying they need a point guard. And he's maybe not the elite of the elite passers, but he is a better playmaking point guard than they've had for sure. And he fills that void. He can guard anybody on the perimeter. And they have 4 all-stars like on their starting lineup as well too. And they have the continuity with everyone else, like beyond Porzingis and Drew. So I think just having the same nucleus for the most part between Tatum, Brown, Horford, White, they have the continuity. They have the young stars and superstar in Tatum. They brought in 2 all-stars in Porzingis and Drew. The only thing you worry about is health a little bit, but
this is all-star.
What'd you say? He's been an all-star.
Okay, was that last year?
I don't know about last year because like he's dealt with injury like recently, but has he not been an all-star? Am I bugging?
He might have been, but you said that like that's like his he's like confidently always an all-star. I'm like,
I would say he's confidently an all-star level talent. Like, would you not?
Oh, I'm not gonna argue with you.
I didn't realize. I thought that was just kind of a consensus.
I want to be more positive with this show going forward. I'm gonna let go of the hateful hot take type stuff. I'm gonna let you rock. You got it.
Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, because he's like a 20 and 10 guy. Like, so yeah, I thought. I think that this Celtics team, who has been in the Eastern Conference Finals, like 4 of the last 5 years, something like that. They have the infrastructure. I guess you have questions about Missoula, maybe, but throughout the regular season, I think they're going to be fine. So I've got them at 1 and the Bucks at 2.
With that being the case, who ends up winning or getting to the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think those are the 2 teams in the conference finals, and personally, I have the Bucks getting past them in the matchup. But yeah, I think those are the conference finals matchup.
No one else throws a wrinkle into that belief, or you think it's pretty clearly them too?
I think it's pretty clearly them too, because I don't have a belief in the Cavs to make that type of jump against these 2 teams. And then the Sixers losing Harden, I don't think they can, even with Maxey stepping up and other guys stepping up. I think Embiid would need another superstar next to him, in my opinion, to get past a Milwaukee or a Boston. The matchup would just be pretty tough there. So for me, it's pretty solidified that I think these are the 2.
Got it. Yeah, they're the 2 teams most clearly.
Obviously, you got Miami too, of course.
Right. But these two are the two teams most clearly this year in championship mode. I that makes the most sense, of course. I'm just saying we've seen a few times now where it seemed like the most sense for the picks to be as that, and then all of a sudden the Heat show up out of nowhere and knock somebody off, or something else pops up that we didn't quite expect. So we'll see what that could be. I think the Cavs potentially could be that, though they showed their experience a few times last season. I think learning from that definitely could be built upon, and they could take a step. And we talk about, as we see, we talk about size, and the Bucks have all the size, and the Celtics have all the size now across all their positions. And then we see a few times in the past where the Heat come up with their small ball type team and they knock off teams still. So I think the Cavs, though they are a little bit smaller than both these squads, they still can present a challenge if they can make the right plays to compete with these guys. And the Heat, the same thing. If they just continue to do what they do, they always find pieces to step up. And even with Gabe Vincent gone and others who are out there, but Max Strus is gone, they'll find somebody else that surely will step up to make shots to at least get them to this position. So we'll see how that plays, but excited to see how that goes. I'm not arguing. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say I think the Heat are kind of the major losers of the offseason, to be honest. Yes, they made the finals run, but as you mentioned, they lose Strus, they lose Gabe Vincent, they don't get the big fish who they kind of were banking on, it felt like, in Dame.
We all were saying that, and then Pat Riley comes out we didn't even we tried, but I know that could be
I'm not taking that. Yeah, I'm not taking that.
But just saying. Also, they made most of that run.
Kyle Lowry is a starting point guard.
Sure, yeah, I fully get that. But also, just wanted to say they made most of that run without Tyler Hero. He's going to be back this year. And part of the reason why these other guys got so many minutes was because Hero was out. So if Hero was back and playing this time, he kind of is the balance of what they lost potentially. So we'll see how that plays. Yeah. Obviously, they want depth, of course, and those guys added depth. But having Hero back surely will help them this year. So we'll see how it plays, but excited to see how that goes either way. And exciting stuff there. So
Porzingis, it's been a minute since he was an All-Star. It was 2018. But for his career, he's a 20-8 guy, and he was 23-8 last year.
You giving guys the All-Star tag from stuff they got 5 years ago still? Okay,
he's an All-Star.
Okay.
I didn't realize you were a Porzingis hater, but
I'm not a Porzingis hater.
He's an All-Star level player.
But I was in my head, the last time he was an All-Star was when Trump was in office. So what are we doing?
Getting hurt. Because he keeps getting hurt. That's the thing.
That has to be. We're not gonna stay on Porzingis, man. It is what it is. So that is it. Moving on to the West.